Dear friends, you're in the Military Summary channel. In this video, we're going to discuss the most important events that took place in the world during the previous 12 hours. We have a lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first, we're going to talk about Ukraine. Overnight, the Ukrainians attacked the territory of the Russian Federation using hundreds of drones. And this picture was published this morning, where we can see the approximate routes of Ukraine attack. As you can see, there were at least 4 waves of attack, or 4 roads of attacks. 2 of them were heading in the southern direction, in the direction of the Black Sea, and in the direction of the southern region of the Russian Federation. Another wave of attack took place in the area of the city of Belgrade. Most likely, the Ukrainians were trying to break through the Belgrade defense, air defense forces, and to move further deep inside of the territory of the Russian Federation. And the fourth and the largest wave of attack took place in the northern direction, between the Chernihiv and Sumy regions and the northern parts of the Russian Federation. So we are talking about this one. Pro-Ukrainian sources stated that during this attack, the Ukrainians were using approximately 300 drones. The Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation also provided us some numbers. For example, between 1 p.m. and 6 p.m., the Russians destroyed 97 drones of the armed forces of Ukraine. Later, between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., the Russians destroyed additional 60 drones. And this morning, the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation reported that overnight, the Russians destroyed additional 249 drones of the armed forces of Ukraine. And most of them were destroyed over Bryansk region, over Kaluga region, over Smolensk region, over the Novgorod region, and so on. So according to this picture, as you can see, most of the drones of the armed forces of Ukraine were moving in the northern direction, trying to outflank the city of Moscow. And during the night, we received the report that the main target of the armed forces of Ukraine was the St. Petersburg region, so the Leningrad region. So this is almost the most northern parts of the Russian Federation. Also, during the night, we received this video where we can see how Ukrainians, before launching this massive attack, discovered and destroyed an air defense unit of the armed forces of the Russian Federation, air defense system Buk M2 or Buk M3. So this system was destroyed in the most western part of the Bryansk region. As for the overnight attack, the most important target and the task of the armed forces of Ukraine was the oil refinery in the area of the city of Primorsk. So this oil refinery was damaged or maybe even destroyed by Ukrainians overnight. As for the morning of the 23rd of March of 2026, we have several pictures where we can see the consequences of attack, and we have this satellite picture where we can see a fire anomaly. As you can see, according to this picture, this object of energy infrastructure and this one were covered with fire, which means that these objects either were destroyed or significantly damaged. So that was the task of the armed forces of Ukraine. Furthermore, during the night, overnight, we received lots of reports about the situation in the city of St. Petersburg. At least 10 passengers planes are currently unable to land at St. Petersburg airport due to a Ukrainian drone strike.
In this company, what we do is we take risks.
Now let's discuss the situation with the Russian attack. Overnight, the Russians also attacked the territory of Ukraine using hundreds of drones, and this morning the Minister of Defense of Ukraine published this picture where we can see that overnight the Russians used 251 drones to attack the territory of Ukraine. Later, several pro-Ukrainian sources published this map where we can see where exactly most of the drones were recorded. As you can see, according to this picture, most of the drones of the armed forces of the Russian Federation were moving through the central part of Ukraine in the direction of the southern regions. And during the night, lots of explosions were recorded exactly in this region. We received lots of pictures and videos from the city of Kryvyi Rog. In this video, for example, we can see how the Russians destroyed train on the territory of the city of Kryvyi Rog, the train that the Ukrainians used to bring cargoes, arms, weapons in the direction of the city. As a result of attack with the drone of Geraint type, this train was completely destroyed, as you can see. Furthermore, we received several pictures also from the city of Kryvyi Rog. Probably this is the picture of the train that was damaged by Russia. Furthermore, we received the report that the Russians were also attacking attacking the territory of Odessa region. Here we can see the consequences of attack in the area of the settlement by the name of Nikolaevka. As a result of attack, the Russians destroyed these farms and these barracks, and here we can see pictures of destroyed barracks. Furthermore, the Russians, according to information we have, attacked the city of Chernomorsk itself. Here we can see the moments of attack, explosion, and we can see how a civilian was making a video of this. Furthermore, the Ukrainians during the previous night attacked the railway station and railway service between the cities of Melitopol and Crimea. So here we can see the consequences of attack. A substation was damaged. This substation support and supply with electricity the railways between the city of Melitopol and Crimea, which is a very important part because now both the Russians and the Ukrainians are fighting for the Zaporozhye direction. So that is why the logistics plays a significant role in this battle. Now let's discuss the situation on the ground and let's talk about the most important updates that took place overnight, and the most important adjustments of the map are coming from the northern Kupiansk direction. Today we have colored the western Kupiansk direction completely under control of the armored forces of Ukraine. So these are the changes on the ground. This is the end of the 22nd of March and this is the beginning of the 23rd of March. Pro-Ukrainian sources published this video where we can see that the Ukrainians, as a result of clashes during the previous days, managed to establish complete control over the western bank of the river of Oskol, over the western Kupiansk, and here we can see lots of episodes of how Ukrainians were moving between buildings in the central part of the city, somewhere along the river itself, somewhere around this square. So the most of the episodes took place right exactly at this point. Furthermore, I would like to remind you that 2 days ago we received a video from this part of the city of Kupiansk, also on the western bank, and here we can see almost the same story. Ukrainian soldiers were moving between buildings in this part of the settlement. So based on these two videos that were published, have been published in the 21st of March of 2026, we have adjusted completely the most western parts of the city. Furthermore, during the previous days we received lots of updates from very reliable pro-Russian sources that this is approximately the situation, that the Russians lost completely their foothold on the western bank of the river Oskol, and that the Russians were forced to fall back on the eastern bank of the river Oskol with the purpose to regroup themselves and to continue their pressure on the eastern bank of the river and on the eastern bank of the Kupiansk agglomeration. Now let's move further. Let's discuss the situation in the Slaviansk direction. During the previous nights we haven't received almost anything. Just several pro-Ukrainian sources confirmed that the Russians are keeping advancing in this region, and according to pro-Ukrainian sources we have lots of changes. We have adjustments both of territories under control of the armored forces of the Russian Federation and gray zones. So as of our map we haven't adjusted anything because we received most of these updates during the previous days from different mappers. As for the city of Konstantinovka, no changes during the night. As for the Pokrovsk direction, the same story, no changes during the night. As for the Zaporozhye direction, there are very heavy clashes in this area. The Russians are keeping advancing between the villages of Vostvizhovka and Verkhnya Tersa. Overnight, we received lots of videos of how Russians were bombing and attacking positions of the armored forces of Ukraine in this area, and it seems that in coming days we might receive first updates from pro-Russian sources about additional progress on the ground. And the same time, the Ukrainians are keeping advancing in the northern Zaporozhye direction, trying to cut the main supply line between the cities of Gulyai-Polye, Uspenovka and Velika Novoselovka, but the Ukrainians are still very far from this objective. Now let's discuss the situation in the Middle East. We received lots of important updates, and first let's talk about the United States of America. According to information we have, the